Hey, this is Rob Yontz with True North Fitness and Stress Made Simple. Thank you for watching this video. This video is an overview of the Elite HRV Personal Pro Dashboard. First off, a little bit about me and us and our business. My wife and I are health and resilience coaches, and we specialize in the use of heart rate variability as an analytical tool and an indicator for personal health. So in this complimentary video, I'll be going over what the Personal Pro Dashboard is, who it may be for, who may be interested in it, what it provides, allows you to do, and how to find it should you decide after seeing all this that this is a tool that you would like to add to your toolbox, so to speak. It's in the follow-on videos of this course, which comprise our paid or compensated course materials that we're going to be getting into, covering the HRV variables, what they are, what they mean, interpreting and evaluating your data, implementing actions from that data, so kind of making decisions on what the data may mean, and of course evaluating those outcomes from your actions over time. All right, so let's get started on what's going on here. So first off, a little bit on just simple navigation. And real quickly, I'll show you, this is the Personal Pro Dashboard, as you can see. This is what you would have as an individual should you decide to get this tool. Now I'm gonna jump over to my team board. When you join us as a client, this is what I see when you join our team. And of course, down here, you can see manage the team. So the difference between here, one on the left one, you get all the same things, dashboard trends, data. You can switch between Personal Pro and the team and you can get help. I've got the same thing, dashboard trends, data, manage. But what you have on the team board, what I get is I can look at an individual or a group for each of these items also. So on an individual scale, you can see here, I would pick the name of the person I want to see on our team and all this data. Well, on my individual account, I don't need to pick from names. I still get the today, week, month view. You get the same thing here. I get to assign individual, personally custom morning readiness recommendations. And we do that for some clients who have special situations or standards or actions that we want to do. But otherwise, you've got the standard elite guidance there. But other than that, all the blocks are the same. So, looking at trends, again, same thing. And the spreadsheet for the data sheet, click on individuals, same thing. So you've got all the same thing as I get access to on the team board. So this is what you get. So looking here, first off, going back to navigation options, in the left-hand column over here, which you have the option to show or hide. If you click those pancakes, it goes away. It gives you that bigger screen to work with, or you can leave that here. So it allows you to jump to several different screens that we just looked at for what you're looking for. So you can see the dashboard. That's your dash page that shows you the overview of numbers, very powerful tool. The trends, we'll get in that in a few minutes. That shows you basically charting per the icon. The data is like a data sheet. If you're familiar with Microsoft Excel or a spreadsheet work, that's what you get there. And then over here, click on your name. You can go into your profile, your billing setup, or your settings. And in there, just quickly look your settings. Personal Pro Dashboard, you can have you can customize your personal ones. As far as that is, you can disable showing your readiness. Not really sure what that is all about. You can go in and set up your billing, or you can go in and set up your profile. The profile is where you set up your password, your preference for units, and things like that. So now getting back to the main dashboard view, you notice we can look at today's numbers, this week's numbers, or this month's numbers conveniently at a click. And just going through a little bit about what this is, you can see what this is for me, but if it were you, it shows me what my readiness evaluation was for today. I was a green parasympathetic 9. I don't know why I say green. 9's always going to be green. And in our training program, if you haven't been through it, I go through a lot of discussion about this is a relative scale. Please do not take this as an absolute. It depends on a lot of other readings as to whether this is a true reading or a near-term reading. It's not an absolute go on green, stop on red type of thing. So put very little weight in your decision-making and actions on this. Put more weight on your numbers. I see my heart rate variability measurement for the day. I see my last 7 days running average and my lifetime running average. So you can see all my numbers are pretty tight right now. My overall lifetime is a 67. My last 7 days are a 68, and today I was a 69. My coefficient of variation, my heart rate for today, my total power for today, and then the individual components, my high frequency and low frequency components, and then the ratio of that power today. Signal quality, this is important to pay attention to just to make sure you're in the green. My baseline consistency, any exercise that I haven't recorded for today yet, and then you can record reading notes for today. For the week, it's all the same thing, except these are all the weekly average numbers. And then for the month, it's the same thing. It's all your weekly, it's all your monthly on average numbers. Pretty straightforward. For the trends, now this really expands out some options here. So you can call this the trend analysis view or the charts. There's 3 sections in here. So first off, if we're looking at the first section, which is charting. So what you can do here is you can select as many charts as you want. So added another chart. You can look at 1 to 4 variables on any screen. All right, so, and you can pick any of the data points that you have in here. So for instance, I can look at the readiness score, my HRV, and my 7-day average HRV. And to clean this up a little bit, I can look at that as bar chart versus line charts. You can look at a 1 week, a 2 week, a 1 month, which is a pretty handy view. You can look at 3 months. Now it starts getting a little busy between the readiness scores, but if that's too much, you can always take that out. If you highlight one, you can see what that looks like. In the background, it's you can see the one that you're highlighted on here, my HRV blue, is in the foreground, the green, the average is in the background. It doesn't come across clearly on a copied screen, but you can see it's got a gray line connecting each dot, so you can see the trend lines. And I can look at all my readings over time. And then you highlight over one, you can see what I've done over time. Also, what's really convenient is you can pick dates for what you want. So looking here, this is going to all dates. So I've been using Elite since November of 2015. I've been doing HRV since 2012. But I can pick, say from September the 1st until, that's 2016, sorry. I can look at September 2016 to January 2017 and apply it. And that's what was going on then. So, I mean, it's more likely you're going to look at something current, but still. You can look at morning readiness readings or open readings. If you look at open readings, you can compare that up to, say, your morning readiness versus a walk. After you went a walk and did some reset work for the day, did it go up? After you did some meditation, did it go up? You can look at pre-workout and post-workout numbers. You can really dig deep and look at a lot of different pieces of information. And then, say, on this one, you can go down and look at your heart rate. So if you wanted to see that on different scales, what's the heart rate doing? So again, very powerful. This is not an analytical educational video. It's just what you can do. So you can add as many things as you want. We could also go down and say add in my, where is it, RMSSD number, and trend that. So you can see how that all compares. So after the first area, which is the charts, the second area is the tags. So This is an area that you can really get in and dig deep and cross-cut your data into various lifestyle factors. Um, so in the last month, I haven't been using tags, but if I click my all, I'll show you what it looks like when you come down. So now you have this tags feature here. I've got a huge list, so I'm not going to click that down because you're going to see a lot of various things that might be more confusing than not, but it's anything you want to track. So for instance, um, mornings where you went to bed late or where you had a late dinner, or what I've done over time is when I have 1 versus 2 versus 4 glasses of wine in the evening. I also do a ton of experimentation. So there are times I'm doing things to see, one, for my own self, what we call my own personal kryptonite is, how does it affect me? Um, so, you can compare 1 glass of wine versus 2 and see over time, you can compare that outcome to see if your RMSSD is affected by that. I have clients who their spouse travels quite a bit, or their spouse is in some degree of placing themselves in danger, whether they're a law enforcement officer, military, special operations, something like that. So it's pretty stressful when they're deployed or traveling or doing what they do. So they track that and they can look at over time, seeing how badly does it affect me. And it's not a punishment if it affects you. It's awareness that tells you when they are in those situations. Yes, you are under more stress. Your system is getting that. Over time, that will take its toll on your health if you don't do something to allow your body to recover. So we work with people like that on allowing themselves to recover, focusing on themselves and their own health a little bit more personally. Something else I wanted to show you up here, I'm gonna go back and I'm gonna remove a lot of the noise and take it back to 1 month. An extremely powerful tool. I'll take my reading today. If you hover over one of these points, it gives you the date, what your readiness score was, what your HRV score, your 7-day average, because those are the items that I have selected. If you click on this, it's going to pump you over to a screen that you don't get access to over here directly. You've got to jump from one screen or another. But this gives you the really deep details of your numbers. And this is where some education and both statistics and heart rate variability come in handy, because while there's the standard numbers you're looking at, my HRV score for the day, my average heart rate this morning, the overall evaluation for my readiness, the balance I'm in, which system is driving harder, parasympathetic or sympathetic, my 7-day CV, it gives me my measurement information for the time I took it, the duration, position I was in, everything that I recorded with it. But I also now get to individually segment the information. I can look at the time domain information. So I go look at the corrected intervals versus the raw intervals. I get a look at the HRV number, the rolling HRV number. I can split it into more minute sections. So that's what it was going across. And then from here, I can see my peak to peak intervals, the time that they were. So I varied anywhere from 0.9 to about 1.6 as far as milliseconds go. The information here as far as my HRV, the mean R to R, the RMSSD, which is a really important number. This is the data piece you need in order to compare across platforms. The natural log of it, that's the number that's used as far as evaluating your HRV, and then all these other individual numbers as well. Something very unique to Elite HRV is you can get into the frequency domain analysis. This does take a bit of understanding to look at, other than looking at it going, okay, well, that's pretty cool. I see some colors and some charts, but what does it mean? So it takes a while to understand it, but you're basically looking at the combined area under the graph as far as what that means for low frequency and high frequency. These correlate to your parasympathetic and sympathetic branches. They're the ranges of power. The stronger your signal, the better off you are. And then the ratio balance of it. And then something I look at quite a bit with clients is this nonlinear. This is called a Poincare plot. This is plotting an R to R interval time in milliseconds to the following R to R time in milliseconds. So that's R to R plus one, R to R. So for instance, one of these dots right here might be the 50th peak interval measurement, and it's graphed against over here the 51st peak interval minute. And what you want to see here, the more this shape is, and this is getting analysis, I'm sorry, I'm just addicted to this. The more it gets into a cigar or torpedo shaped, the more unhealthy it is. The more round, generally speaking, the healthier it is. The more spread out your dots are, the healthier it is. So today, my number is kind of a commingling of things. I have a lot of dots along the axis, but yet I've got quite a few spread out, and they're very much out there. So I've got a lot of outliers, but my ratio of these two axes, this one and that one, SD1 and SD2, it's a 2.227. I don't know anywhere where there's information as far as a standard for looking at that, but in the low twos is still pretty healthy based on what I've seen. Ones are fantastic. That's almost like a circle. Getting up into the fives is in the ranges of very unhealthy. And then, of course, it matters whether it's lower down here or higher. It matters, the slope of this line, if it's closer to this graph or this graph. Those all mean something. All right, but it's a very, very powerful type of tool to look at the reading detail screens. And then we talked about the tags. The tags is how we really evaluate individual components, or again, what we call kryptonite. And then down here, a scatter plot. Again, this is some math or statistical variation comparisons of being able to look at one variable charted against another variable and seeing if there's a correlation. So for instance, I know scientifically it's been proven that RMSSD and high frequency, which is parasympathetic branch, correlate. So then you take a look at it and you say, how is that? So you can see as my RMSSD gets larger, generally speaking, my high frequency becomes stronger. And it matters. I mean, if these numbers were 10, 20, 30, 40, those are extremely low high frequency numbers. So it would be good that, yeah, you're getting, it correlates, but the numbers aren't exactly impressive. And then, of course, what are we looking at? We're looking at 1 month of data. You can click this to look at 3 months, and your options are still going to see the same. So now you can see a bit more. As you get more data points, that's really where a scatter plot comes in handy. When a couple of data points will not really show you much, but as you add more data points, you'll notice a trend line or a linear regression line that shows a correlation. So 3 powerful areas here. Remember to click on the data point. That really helps you to get somewhere. And then the data spreadsheet. This is where I do a lot of my evaluation on the data sheet view. It's just, this is the way I like to see things. So the data type, you can look at metadata, which is going to be those different variables that you track in. And there's more coming in. I know Elite is looking at bringing in all the variables, which is your blood glucose and things like that out on the other trend charts. The columns here is a default for what you get to see. But what really comes in handy is looking at all these other things. So I do like to look at duration. If you've been through the mobile or the basics training course that we have, you know that our standard is 5 minutes. And we take a much lighter read on anything that's less than 4, because we do look at power numbers, and to have enough data points and have your power viable, you need at least 4, so we take the 5. But I'm checking all the numbers I look at. Some people get overwhelmed with the amount of information we do, but I keep it to the minimum of what matters to us. Like I know RMSSD and natural log of RMSSD are going to trend and track exactly the same. Natural log is going to be a much tighter um, realm of numbers. The RMSSD varies much more, so that means more to me. But when I do a client evaluation, this is the screen I'm looking at. So if I were evaluating me, this is what I'd be seeing. And this gives me the date of the reading, the readiness score, which I take with a very, very light weight. The balance, which I like to see that your system is switching between the two drives to know that you're not staying too long in one or in the other. What the daily HRV score is, the RMSSD that correlates with that, the PNN 50 and the SDNN, those to me are the most important in between variables. And in our course, we get into the hows and whys of that. Your 7-day average heart rate variability, the heart rate variability, 7-day average coefficient of variance, which is also very important relative information when you do your analysis. The daily heart rate and the 7-day average heart rate, and then your power numbers as far as the total power, and the divisions, which are high frequency, low frequency, and the ratio. That basically kind of covers most everything what you have here. I know it's high level, but you can see that having access to this type of program is really for the person that wants to, whether you're health conscious or performance conscious. And by health, you can look into food sensitivities and diet effect on your body. You can do a lot of stress relationships and stress management. And stress is just this all-encompassing word. It seems so simple to so many people, but it's a misunderstood word, as misunderstood as anything is, because honestly, everything we do is a stress, whether it's working out, standing up, thinking, everything. But helps to evaluate stress from a health perspective. Quite a few people who have either acute or chronic diseases use HRV to manage their health and assess what's going on and how they take on their day. And then, of course, the age-old practice and the most common use right now in the world is for either fitness or for athletic performance evaluations. So if any of these categories fit, it's really for the person who wants to take a deeper dive into the data, dig more deeply into the analysis of their information, utilize expanded analysis tools, and like we discussed on the tags, be able to include other lifestyle factors, because on the charting, the trends, on the charting, you can look in at metadata also for sleep duration right there. So let's get rid of that and take both of these to lines. So now what we're looking at is sleep duration with my 7-day and my daily heart rate number. So now we can correlate between sleep, the duration and the quality versus my HRV and what's going on. So it's a very powerful tool. Get into the details of what it is. If this looks like something you like to do, what's really cool is Elite doesn't require any contracts. So if you go to elitehrv.com, and again, this is the tool we use because we feel it's the widest application, the most easy to use, and provides the best access to the most data to provide value. All you do is go to products, personal pro. It pops you to their board right here. And then what you can do is, if you choose to get started with it, right now in 2019, it's simple pricing. It's $8 a month, no contract. So get in, use it for a month. It's $8. See if it's a value, or if you can learn it enough to make it a value. It's a great big screen view. It offers tremendously more powerful and comprehensive information than your mobile platform. And it doesn't matter how long you've been doing the mobile. All your information is up in the server in that quote unquote cloud. If you choose to do this, you're going to have everything in your past. I see that with clients. Some clients have been using it 2-3 years. They hire on. We work with them as soon as I get access to their account. I see their entire history of data. And that's very powerful because now we can go back and go, what happened here? What was going on here? This looks like the normal you, those types of things. So again, this is HRV, Elite HRV Personal Pro Dashboard Overview. And hoping this was valuable. I'm Rob Yontz with Stress Made Simple and True North Fitness and Health. And if this was interesting and you'd like to learn more about the analytics behind it, then please go ahead and continue on and get into the compensated or the paid for material where we go over what all these terms mean, how to use them in analysis on a basic level. And then there's also an enhanced or advanced process also. Thank you very much.